So in the last class we've seen how does that activation go on, right? So now let's see practically, let's create one DSO and see those tables and how are those tables being manipulated first. Okay, I have this info here. I'm just trying to create a DSO now. Right click, same. How do you create a cube? Right click on the info area and then instead of cube, just select what? Data store object. Okay. Double Z underscore shell, some name, technical name, demo standard DSO. It's a create, just technical name, description. This is where you see what is description and technical name, and you see the properties configured in different folders here. In the object information, you just see that object version is new. Why? Because it's the first time. So as soon as you activate, it gets into active version. And okay, and then settings. These are very important for a DSO, because for a cube you just have only one property as type of cube, but DSO you'll have lots of properties. Now, first thing is you have a property of specifying type of DSO. Standard or direct or write outmost. Which one I want? I want to go with standard. Okay, good. Next, there's something called SID generation. Normally, what happens, like when you load a cube, it generates SIDs, then use them same way. While loading it to ODS, for every characteristic values, it will generate SIDs. So you want that SIDs generation should be done during reporting or during activation. When do you want? Generally, if it is HANA database, we would prefer doing it during activation for everything. But and if it is non-HANA database also, and if you're still doing reporting on, see if you say during reporting, what happens? At the runtime of the query, it has to generate SIDs. Will it affect the performance of the query? Yes. So if you're really doing reporting, I would say prefer doing activation, SIDs during activation, so that now because I want to speed up that activation now. Yeah. Then what is unique data records? So if I enable this checkbox, it will not allow the records with same key field combination. It will throw an error bus. But for us, I want it to allow duplicates. Let it go and override them. That's what I want. So I'm not going to enable this. What does this do? Set your quality status to OK automatically. What will this do? As soon as it loads to new table, it converts the request status to green automatically. Let it do that. And we don't have to worry on this. See, we have activate data automatically. All this, we are not dealing with this, because I would like to do it activation manually, because I would like to see records in the new, then activate. The same what we have seen in Excel, I would like to see the same effect here. Then there's something like what is key fields and data fields. Now I got to specify the info objects based on, depending on what granularity you want. You specify the key fields. For me, I'm going to specify the key fields. I'm not creating info. Already my info objects are already there. I'm just trying to use it. And for date for month I use 0 cal month, which is already there. And then data fields, Z underscore AMT. Other one in there. If I don't know, I can use those. It was YO underscore sales. I can use the top bit as a template here. I can see that structure. Then I can drag this amount I want and region. You can just go creating your own info objects. I didn't want to waste time in creating those objects, okay? And then say what? Active. That's it. This is about creating DSO. Specify keywords, specify data fields, and activate. So now when this is done, will it create those three tables in the backend? /BAC/A DSO name is what? /Z_sales 0040 and some number comes for change log. Okay. Actually, generally what happens when you basically activate a DSO, it creates some export data source which needs your source system connection of. You have myself connection here, like flat file. You'll have myself connection, which is by default implemented when you install the system. అది ఉండాలి, ఇదే తేడా వచ్చి ఉంటుంది అందుకు. ఈ మైసెల్ఫ్ కనెక్షన్ కరెక్ట్గా ఉంటేనే ఓడిఎస్ యాక్టివేట్ అవుతుంది అన్నట్టు. సో యాక్చువల్లీ యూ డోంట్ క్రియేట్ దిస్ మైసెల్ఫ్ కనెక్షన్ వెన్ ద సిస్టమ్ ఈజ్ న్యూలీ ఇన్స్టాల్డ్, యూ గెట్ దట్ బై డిఫాల్ట్. బట్ ఇది నాకు వచ్చింది కానీ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది. ఇట్ సేస్ వాట్ ఆర్ఎఫ్సి కనెక్షన్ ప్రాబ్లం. ఈ వాట్ ఎవర్ కనెక్షన్ నేమ్ వీ హ్యావ్ విత్ ద సేమ్ కనెక్షన్ యూ హ్యావ్ అన్ ఆర్ఎఫ్సి కనెక్షన్. ఆర్ఎఫ్సి కనెక్షన్స్ వుడ్ బి ఇన్ a T code SM59. So expand above connection. This is a connection name, right? Select this and say display. If you do IP address 05 ఇవ్వడం వల్ల కనెక్షన్ టెస్ట్ అంటే mine is not IP address that's wrong actually. IP address మారినాయి అన్నట్టు. What is it? For log on to ERP more than 61 actually. అది ప్రాబ్లం. Now it's okay, yeah. Now I'll say just activate once. Done. So my problem is fixed. Now I'll activate the DSOs. Now it's fine, activated. This is how you just create DSOs. Okay. I'm going to load those 5 set of records again, yeah. So I'm going to save this as DSO data file. So I got my flat file ready. I've got my DSO ready. Assume DSO like a cube as a target. I've got my source file, I've got target. Now what is it I will have to do to load? Yeah. What is it I need to do? Data source, then what? Then info package DTP. That's it. You know this, right? What is YPC file? Something I'm just using some component. DSO. I'll use what? Transaction data source. I'll specify some short, medium, and long descriptions. Extraction is my file in the local workstation, and it's in this. Header row, and it's going to be CSV file. But before I go with proposal, should I close this file out? I'll go with proposal. So start getting customer, year, month, region, amount, and currency. Just not go with Teams. I'll say num-c, then character is okay, and then currency, and then amount is also linked up to currency unit, currency column here. That's fine. Just activate. Compulsory. I get this record. Okay, done. So then what? DSO, right click, say create transformations. Was YPC file. Start mapping. Now transformations. Can I write start routine, end routine, export routine, anything? Yeah. And while feeding the key figure for DSO, you don't have it as amount and currency together. Amount is separate and currency is treated as a separate column. But in the cube, in the mapping of keyword itself, we get the mapping of unit characteristic. Next, my flow is ready. Next, I will create what? Delta all the settings, I'm fine. You know about all these options. Done. I want to trigger this now. Start the info package. Let's focus on this concept. One record has come in. Now next what? I'm running the DTP, which will take that single record to my target. Which table does it load? New. So you can see, I now showed you the tables here. Sorry. Display what is activated this update here in the screen. Extras menu. Information logs. Yeah. Then something dictionary DB status. Here you can see the table names actually. Active table 00, new table, this change log with some big number 1795, and 40 is what? Activation key or new table. You could choose tables or you could go to this. When you go to manage of this, go to what? Manage of the DSO, and you see this request loaded with how many records? 1. Is it available for reporting? No. Why? The data of this request is still a new table, so no reporting. Only when it gets on new active, then it gets on for report. So you can see 3 tables: new table, active table, change log. Now what is the, where will you find your records in? Remember, you see, actually your DTP request number is this, and 6240 is what? SID of that request. So your new table will have SID of the request or DTP request first? SID of the request. It says 6242 SID of the loading S side of the loading request, packet 1, record 1, C100, format cheda sir. What is it I'm doing? I'm just deleting all the data what is loaded. I'm just going to correct my file. Yeah? Let me check it here first. Then. Now it's okay. So I'm going to run the DTP now. Go to manage. It's 6244, yeah. So you'll have the request in 6244 in what? So record 1, packet 1, C100, Jan 2013 and amount 1000 and so same record comes in. Now will you have any records in the active table? No, right? Because you just see, you do table where it is 00 ante no records. And will you have any records in the change log? No. So I'm going to activate this request. How do I activate? Just in the request tab, just select your request and there's a button. What is the button here? Activate. Now select your request and say start. So when this happens, what happens? It takes that key field combination. We never had any record with C100 in Jan 2013, so it is going to add as a new record and maintains interest in the change log. Now you get the reporting symbol. It means it's been activated. And you can see 6244 is actually the SID of the loading request. 6245 is actually the SID of the activation request. But a change log holds SID of the activation request or original activation request. Original activation request. Original activation request number, you can see it from here. If you go to right corner, this is DTP loading request was. ODSR, it comes like this. ODSR, this is your activation request. Gurtupetuko ODSR CUX kada. Now how many records in the new table? 0. After activation, does it delete data in the new table? Yeah. And active table, how many records? Okay. And what is primary key in this table? Look at the structures. Yeah. What about change log? How many records? 1 record. And what will be ODS activation request? ODSR and CUX something. And what should be the record mode? N. ODSR CUX is activation request. Packet 1, partition 1, record number 1, C100, Jan 2013, 1000 INR south, and record mode is N. N indicating new image. I will take the next set of record. When I run the info package, you will get one record to the data PSA. Now this time it is C100, and what is this month? Feb, right? So will it, now I'm going to run the DTP. I can go to manage from here also. What is it? 6247, and you can see original DTP request here. DTPR 4TLL is request. This is SID of the request. Your new table of the DSO will have SID of the request or a request number. SID of the loading request. And what is it? 6247. Good. And again it says one record and no reporting symbol yet. Yeah. Now get in. What is it? How many records in the new table? 1. And what request will it have? 6247, which is your full grip undalla ekkadiki velthundi data. Yeah. And it's with Feb. Yeah. Good. And how many records in the active table? The one old record will be still there with Jan. And how many records in the change log? It will still have the one with the old activation request with new image, yeah, with January data. Now when I activate this request, what will happen? It will take the new and again it goes, right? Will it override the existing record or add suppose? The existing record is with Jan. The new record what I'm loading is the new record with Feb. So it's going to and you know when it adds up, what entry does it make in the change log? Yeah. Now reporting symbol has come in. You can go to the right to find CUX is a old activation request and 7DL is the next activation request. How many entries in the new table? 0. How many entries in the active table? 2 new records been added. One is with Jan, one is with Feb. You know, change how many records will have in the change log? 3 or 2? 2. Both with CUX was the old one and 7DL was the new one, and both are with the new image Jan and Feb. So I get the new request into what? Data source. C100 and again Jan with what? 5000 value. Previously it was 1000. Now it's going to override that. So I get 6250 is my DTP SID request. And what is this DTPR? This is my DTP request. This is the SID of the DTP request. And why I don't see this ODS activation request? Because this request has not yet been activated. Yeah, good. Now before activation, how many entries in the new table? 1 entry with Jan data with 5000 value. And what is the data in the active table? With Jan entry with 1000. Yeah. Chain log still those 2 records with 2 new images. Yeah. I'm going to select this and activate. So again when I activate, will it again create one more activation request? Like this, whenever you run DTP, how does it formulate DTP request? And every activation instance, it does generate one activation request for it. And where the naming of the request comes as ODSR and so on. Okay. Now how many entries in the new table was? 0. And how many entries in the active table? 3 or 2. Why? Already we had 2. When the new record has come in and overwritten that, and I should see the value as what? 5000, so 1000 is overwritten with 5000, and you see change. Okay, it is CUX, yeah, it is 7DL. The new is what? AQH here. So let's observe the records of AQH in this. CUX was a volt, then 7DL, then AQH. AQH has brought in how many records? Two. One is X indicating before, blank indicating after, and the before image key figures are been inverted with negative symbol -1000. Minus enuku undochu. It only display. నీ యూజర్ లాగిన్కి నీ ఓన్ సెట్టింగ్ ఉండొచ్చు. యూ కెన్ షో మైనస్ బిఫోర్ ఆల్సో. సో యూ సీన్ దట్ బిఫోర్ అండ్ ఆఫ్టర్. And whatever you seen theoretically and what you seeing now, is it all same? అంతే. ఆరెంజ్లో గ్రిప్ ఉంటే ఇంక అంతే అన్న, ఏం ఓడేస్ ఏం, యూ క్యాన్ ప్లే విత్ ఇట్. బికాస్ ఫ్యూచర్ అంతా డిఎస్ఓ బాగా చాలా అంటే ఇప్పుడు కూడా బాగా హెవీ వాడతాం. ఇంకా ఫ్యూచర్ ఇంకా ఫుల్ డిఎస్ఓని అన్నట్టు అట్టుంటుంది. So I should see a data in the data source. What is the change we were focusing on this region? Feb is still 2005, but we are changing it from some north to south, east or something. Again I get a new DTP రిక్వెస్ట్. చూడండి అదే మనకు చెప్తానంటే ఏదో రీజన్ ఉందన్నట్టు, నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్ లింక్ ఉంది దానికి. ఓకే, 6253 and there is no activation request yet. And what you see here, see that's why it says SID of the activation. This activation request, this is the SID of the activation request, and it says 0, means not yet activated. Before activation I should see entries in the new table. But new table will have SID of the loading request or DTP request. ఒరిజినల్ DTP రిక్వెస్ట్ ఉంటుందా, ఆ DTP రిక్వెస్ట్ సంబంధించిన SID ఉంటుందా? SID ఉంటుంది. ఒరిజినల్ DTP అంటే DTPR. ముందు ఇన్ ఓల్డర్ వర్షన్స్ ఇట్ వాస్ మెయింటైనింగ్ ది లోడింగ్ రిక్వెస్ట్ was. So in order to that, what they do is when you are doing activation, it takes that DTP request, then finds SID, then it was doing it. But we can reduce that lookup by storing the SID itself into it, so it will speed up my activation process. Now they start storing SID of the request, not the request number. Now before this, it will be the same two records. It is with south. You are actually going to change this to what? East. Chain log still have those 4 records. Yes. Good. Done. Okay, now do you get this? What is WGP? How many entries in new table? 0. 2. But you see this region getting with what? East pin overwritten. And I should see entries in chain log as before and after. In the first కొత్త record, next request, next trend, WGP before as with south with -2500 and after as east with 2500. two records. Since my info badge is triggered, you will see those two records in what? In the PAC, nothing but data source. Jan Feb, where it's going to change this value to already 5000 undi, changing this region from east to something, and here changing this value to 7000 from 2500. Again, not yet activate. Shall I activate it again? Okay, kadanga telusu arthamaindi. But did you understand how is this overwriting happening here? So see, now for me to show you, I'm just doing this activation manually in all this. But in the real time, they don't do this loading manually. They don't trigger it manually like this. They'll automate this by using something called process changes and పెడతారు. అదే ఆటోమేటిక్ లోడ్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది, యాక్టివేషన్ జరిగిపోతుంటుంది అన్నట్టు. నీకు చూపియాలి కాబట్టి నీ నిదానంగా పెట్టి కొడతాను. నా వాట్ ఇస్ దిస్ యాక్టివేషన్ SID 6257 and what is IAH? Yeah. First thing I should see the active, which is changed 7000 here, and the region is changed to what? North. I think it was south something. I think I should see entries. How many entries of this IAH? So IAH I see Jan before and after. Before it was south, and now it is changed to what? North. Now here it is, before it was 2500, now it is changed to 7000. Excel ఏం వేసినాం అదే వచ్చి కూర్చున్నాను, ఏం తేడా ఏం లేవు. దిస్ ఈజ్ వాట్ యాక్టివేషన్ అండ్ హౌ ది డేటా ఇస్ లోడెడ్ ఇంటూ DSO. ఓకే, any doubts?